Warning, the following broadcast contains strong opinions, playful antics, and controversial topics causing off-the-rails fun. Chances for being offended are higher than average for sensitive people. Viewer discretion is not advised. Live a little and have some fun.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast. I'm here with Zach McVey and Jason Jarvis. Fellas, how are we doing this evening?
Doing good. Hey, Jason's here.
Yay, Jason's here on time.
Hey, you can always count on Chris and Jason Jarvis, the OGs, man. We always here.
That's right. Well, I can't say I've always been here, but
except for the weeks we have to cancel when you're not here. So
yeah, because if God forbid, if I'm not here to set the show up, or like I feel like I'm doing sub plans for you guys when you guys do the show and I'm not here, and I'm like, geez, I hope they don't screw it up.
Well,
don't.
You would think with Kevin on board, we could get some things done. I mean,
Kevin's got a coach, man. He's got coaching to do.
I've got coaching to do too, man. I understand.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 nights a week. Come on.
Yeah.
And they're always a given.
I didn't know they played softball in the dark.
Hey, and they're awful
under lights.
They're pretty close. You know, go to Cuba Friday, go to Cuba Monday. It's been and then I drove all the way down and visited with our buddy Bruce Valroy, who asked questions. I would like talk a lot more about it, but the person he asked questions about isn't on here. And Jim, he said, "Man, did you make Jim mad? He ain't been on since." I was like, he's been on one time, I think, since the time he checked out in the middle of the episode. But he asked some questions. You know, I had to go down there. We got our butts kicked in volleyball, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to be back down here in basketball. Hopefully, it's not the same thing, but you know how it is down there.
No, I wouldn't have any idea what it's like to go down to St. Vincent and have a hard time winning a game. Not at all. Well, speaking of winning games, let's jump in. Well, go ahead, Jason. Golly.
Well, I was going to say, shut your dog up, Zach McVey. What the hell?
That's not my dog.
Dog's back here in the
that's
background.
That's why you guys make fun of me. Yeah. I'm in a
Who let the dogs out?
Room. Yeah.
Who let them out?
You're in a secluded room all right. You look like you're taking a big old dump.
No.
I'm telling you, we were talking about this before we came on. Zach looks like he's sitting on a corner commode. And it's unfortunate, Zach. You got to put some pictures up. Wait, is that like your area there of the house?
No, it's our bedroom or part.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
You should say like it is my area. That's right. Zach, are there any windows open tonight?
When you have a 10-year-old now, you can't be out in the middle of the house and be loud like we are. So hey, got to be.
We're not loud.
No, never.
No, we're not. Yeah,
I wasn't sure where he was going with that. We were talking about bedroom loud. I was like, hey, this is PG team, hey.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, Zach, are there some windows open in there that we need to know about or don't need to know about? They all closed? All right. Well, it's the way it is. It's
They're screwed shut over here, boys.
so many jokes.
So many. Too little time.
So,
Jason, have you got the Major League Baseball playoffs on your TV yet?
I'm flipping back and forth. I see that Atlanta took the lead while I was getting ready for the show from the time I walked from my car to in here. So,
hey, are the Cardinals on tonight? Are they in the playoffs?
Yeah, what channel are they on?
Well, it doesn't matter. Next year, we're not even going to have a channel to watch them on anyway. And I don't think they're going to have much of a team to watch the way that DeWitt and dumb Mo are going to.
Well, speaking of that, Zach, why don't you go ahead and lead us right into our topic here, our main topic.
So
we're going to beat this dead horse a million times.
Hell yeah, we are.
But it's news though. So the Cardinals brass decided to have their post-season speech, if you will, earlier this week. And what was
did you say the Cardinal ass? Because that's
brass.
Brass.
He definitely said ass.
No, brass.
No,
so they had a conference, and we were all wondering, are there going to be changes made? Are there going to be people let go? Are there going to be new people brought in? Are they going to talk about a philosophy going into next season? And we were all in the group chat saying, what's going to happen? Good things, maybe. And I think we were anybody who has anything to do with the St. Louis Cardinals left that press conference going, that is 90 minutes of our life that we can't get back, because absolutely nothing was said, and anything that was said was so tone deaf by upper management that I'm going to say this. If any one of you, Chris, Jarvis, or any of the other guys next year decide to buy tickets and go watch them, I'm just going to make fun of you as much as humanly possible, because it is a waste of money.
I agree.
To even remotely think about spending and watching them. There's no answers. Yeah, there's no answers. Nothing was solved. Nothing was answered. It's just again, tone deaf. It's them sitting on their wallet saying, we can't hear you and we're going to do what we want to do. And you know what? Hey, buy it, take it or leave it. I don't know. I don't know. Chris, I mean, you guys jump in. We can kind of go back and forth here. What did you think of the Cardinals press conference?
Go ahead, Jason. I'm really curious how you feel about it.
Well, first, Higasaki just hit a dong that's tied up 1-1. And
thanks for that update, Jason.
You're welcome. Here's my thing. I'm gonna get in the Cardinals in a second. Hard not to
call him the best color man in the business.
Hey, hard. It's hard not to root. It's hard not to root for the San Diego Padres.
Agree.
Well, they got a great manager that some other franchise had at one time, but hey. Not good enough. 93-69 in his first year at San Diego in the playoffs. Going to probably beat the Braves here to hopefully face off against LA. But anyway, I mean, no one in Cardinal Nation would have been happy unless they chopped Mo's head off and got rid of him.
Whoa!
I'm just saying,
burned him in effigy over here.
He should. How are you going to – so he's going to sit around here another year. He's going to have his hands on this club. And, I mean, they're not doing anything. We are going to – what the players they have right now is what they're going to have. They may add a pitcher, and it'll be some 35-year-old guy washed up, innings eater. I don't know, man. They are so out of touch. I have not bought a ticket to a game. Now, I've went to a game or two, but I have not bought a ticket in 4 or 5 years. I can't. I cannot spend – because for me and my family to go to a game, and, I mean, you're talking $300 to $400 trip.
Easy.
If not more.
Yeah. And you bring this up, and so again, going into the deep dive of the press conference, when DeWallet, he wants to leave Mo a legacy, and he wants to give him an opportunity to go out with a bang. I can appreciate that. That's fine, but
great.
You know what I mean?
What kind of banger is he going for here?
I don't know. And here's why. So, Jason, when you say everybody's wanting him to get canned or to get axed. And DeWitt talks about, this legacy and all the things that he's done. He went through and he talked about, in Mo's career. Okay, that's fine. But if you take the entirety of his career, but if you only look at the last 10 years, let's break this down. And you tell me if you keep your job as a coach, if this happens to you. Let's see if you
before you start, I'll just say no.
Sure.
Okay, now go.
In 10 years, so this is just the last 10 seasons.
Yeah.
One postseason series win.
Okay.
One in 10 years.
You
It's
write
not
all
a good
this
batting
down?
average. Yes,
You wrote
I did.
all this down.
Yeah, because I
God,
listened to
you're
the
so
press
prepared.
conference. I was like, "There's okay, great. That had to be his first 3-4 seasons."
Other people who should take notes is when they stand
Yeah.
up on a national audience and make sure that they have everything good. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Three.
We're not gonna get
No.
political here.
No,
I didn't say anything about
gonna state
politics. Let me
facts. We're gonna
finish,
state
damn it.
facts. 3 NL Central Divisions titles in 10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Only 2 years of ever reaching the NLDS or better in 10 years, and then only 90 plus wins 4 times in 10 years. Okay. Now, to put that in perspective, the Brewers 4-5 NL Central Division titles. Okay. They have, if you're looking at the last 10 years, they are it in the NL Central. Okay. Phillies, they're going to the NLCS. The Giants, they're going into the NLCS. The Dodgers, they're going to the NLCS.
Update. Bases loaded. Manny Machado down the third base line, scores 2. Padres up 3-1. Go ahead.
Right. So I don't know. I think if any of us were in any of those situations, I think we would have to be updating our resume. I don't know if we would have gotten 10 years if we would have had that in our resume. Thoughts?
No, you wouldn't got 10 years. Here's the thing, man. It's like, what have you done for me lately? We live in a society of a bunch of people who look at, okay, that's great what you did, but I have already forgot about that. My attention span's gone like Jason's is half the time. And then guess what?
On the show.
I'm ready to go with what you're doing now. Here's what you haven't done. Nothing. You haven't done anything but tank our franchise without tanking it. And Jason's now gone. Jason's leaving the show.
No,
now. It hurt his feelings.
I know. I'm making it so.
No, so you have to see the side of your head like it's a prison.
So now you can't tell
his profile.
Now you can't.
Yeah, we can't look it up.
So he can watch the game.
So the thing is he hasn't done anything to this point. The fact is you got a year on the guy has a year on his contract left. 1 year. He's lame duck with his successor walking around everywhere who's supposed to be making decisions for him. The guy has a 5-year deal on books right now. What good is he going to be? He's like tits on a boar hog. That's how useful he is. If he's allowed to make decisions, it's worse. Here, let me set this up for you here. Let me show you what I did. And the guy's like, I'm not doing what you did because it sucked. So then there's a difference of opinion. There's a difference of opinion between the guy that just came in and the guy who's going to be leaving. And you've got this year of this crossover going, why? Why not just say, hey, you know what, John, we're going to go ahead and move you to this position here. Whatever. Make him Bill DeWitt's second in command over his own son. Great. And then guess what? You've got something to move forward to make the fan base at least happy. And do those sort of things and get everybody back behind the team. You don't have it. You're right. Everybody left there and thinking, this is insane. Jason, you want to talk? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say now it is 5-1.
Oh, my gosh. You could
5-1.
Download the ESPN app for more updates.
So the guy just said, let's blank and go, Padre. But yes, I think you are exactly right. I mean, and I don't understand. I don't think there's going to be I'm going to disagree on one thing, Chris. I don't think there's going to be a difference. I think you're going to get rid of Mo. this guy's going to come in and he's going to do exactly the same because that's what DeWallet wants. He doesn't want money spent. He's a liar. I don't like DeWallet anymore. He's a liar. He's a flat out liar. He said they were going to raise these. No, they said they would go out and get people. Build this stadium. We're going to get people. We're always going to be competitive, blah, blah, blah. Matheny, you're not good enough. 500 baseball fans here. They don't deserve that. Oh, but hey, Ollie, you could run this thing into the ground and be barely 500, and it's okay. And last year, not even 500. 500 isn't good enough. I don't care. You can make fun of us and say, oh, best fans of baseball. There's nothing to go watch. Except I like Mason Wynn. I they're going to get rid. They're talking about trading Arenado, which fine. I don't care. Go ahead.
Yep.
But I bet money Contreras is gone too after what he said.
Well, there's an outside chance that they could move on from several guys that are under multi-year contracts that aren't just up at the end. Like they already said that Goldschmidt's gone. Okay. That was kind of like writing on the wall because you've got a log jam of guys that you need to be able to put in that spot. Gorman, Burleson, can they play first? Find out. So that way you can rotate a DH and you're not just having to play you got two guys that are left-handed trying to play DH and then Luke and Baker. So you got to figure out what you have in him. I mean, I think we've all said this to the point where it's beyond exhaustion that we would like to see the younger guys just play. If we're going to suck, just suck with younger dudes and let's go and let's play and let's reset that way. I like the fact that they want to do that. Here's the problem. I don't think it's the best idea to have the same people in charge, being John Mozeliak and Ali Marmol, who did this. I'm going to quote Bernie Miklasz. I put it in our group chat. I think this is a fantastic way to summarize the whole thing. If someone haphazardly sets fire to your property, you don't turn around and ask the same person to extinguish the blaze and repair the extensive damage. You bring in someone from the outside who can take charge of the problem, someone who wasn't the origin of the problem. John Mozeliak and his roster construction is the number one or the problem and the origin of the problem. And then the guy who's tasked with taking that and making good decisions. Like, listen, we've all been dealt a bad hand and probably done a good job as a coach trying to get the most out of them. I can't say that I believe that Ali Marmol has taken a bad situation and done the best with it because he doesn't communicate good enough with the media. He doesn't communicate good enough with the players, obviously. But, look at Tyler O'Neill. There was a late season meeting between him and Lars Nootbaar to clear the air. I mean,
with 5 games left too, or whatever.
Like, why the hell are you having that meeting now? Obviously, it was probably for, making sure somebody didn't get fired or whatever. I don't know. But my point is he obviously is part of the problem. And to have the same people come back in that situation when you're saying we're going to do a reset. No, you're not resetting anything. It's not a hard reset like you would on your Apple phone and then factory update, factory settings. This is just, hey, we hit restart and we're going to do the same thing again. It's literally what it is.
And you had for us as Cardinal fans, and we brought this up in our group chat. I think you had an opportunity with Skip, to come over, to come on board, which you could have done, and I would be in total agreement. You're going to walk from Goldie, you're going to try and move Arenado. I like Contreras because, again, I think he's a good player. But if he just said, you know what, I'm done, I want to move on, then you move him and you bring Skip in, and you play all of these young guys, and you say, hey, we're under new management. Jordan Walker, you're going to play every day. Nolan Gorman, you're going to play every day. Victor Scott, you're going to play every day. Mason Wynn, you're going to play every day. And we will. And if we pull a Chicago White Sox, then so be it. But we have to start fresh. There's nothing fresh about what's going to happen next year. And if I'm Jordan Walker, and we've said it on air, if I'm Jordan Walker, if I'm Mason Wynn, if I'm Victor Scott, if I'm Nolan Gorman, if I'm any of that young core that's supposed to be a part of this franchise for several years, I am terrified about how I'm going to perform. And as coaches, and I know as a coach, if you have scared players, they are not going to perform well. They're going to, as I think Chris said it last week, they're going to look over their shoulder. They're going to have the weight of the world on their shoulder, and they're not going to perform. So they are out another year instead of bringing in another dude with fresh eyes, fresh perspective. But hey, you know what? We're not going to spend money, but we're going to build in Jupiter, Florida. What does that have to do with making us better? What does that have to do with making us better? And that's all I heard them say is that, oh yeah, player development. What? So I don't understand.
I think the Cardinals have done a good job. Okay. An admirable job of identifying players that are talented. I don't think they've developed them into moving up the ranks and then transitioning from minor league baseball to major league baseball. When players go to other organizations and have success, that shows that there is a complete disconnect between you're a minor league baseball player and a major league baseball player. And how do we take the talent that's obviously working in other places and make it work for us? So that development piece has not been there.
Because there's no coaches.
Said it. So okay. So if there is a plan in place for that, however that looks, I'm all for that. I'm all for developing those guys because we've seen guys have success in other places after being in our farm system. You look at the back of their baseball card and they're like, man, they played for the Cardinals. Why did we get rid of that guy? Because he obviously, we brought him up and he couldn't do anything. Well, why? That's the big question. Why? So I'm hoping that Chaim Bloom has the answer for that.
Well, and I think if you, as the Cardinals, would have went in and cut ties with Mo and started that part of it, you could sell keeping Marmol to fans if you cut Mozeliak and the new guy was making the decisions. Then, okay, you could sell. I'm not saying it's the right decision. I'm just saying I think you could sell it. I don't see it getting any better with this guy. He's got to be a DeWallet guy. He's got to go by DeWallet's demands, and I just don't see much changing with this guy.
I think where I disagree, and this is benefit of the doubt because I'm obviously incredibly skeptical, as you can tell, just by how I've opened this whole thing and the graphic that I made for the show this evening. Okay, I think there's been a lot of great general managers and president of baseball operations and coaches who have taken teams who do not have the same luxuries as the Dodgers, Yankees, whoever else. The Cubs have spent a lot of money in the past. They've obviously cut back. The Padres have spent a lot of money in the last 6 years or so. The Mets had spent a lot of money, the Rangers. But, there's teams that are successful without that. And they have people who are good at running those things. Obviously, what Tampa Bay has been able to do over a long period of time. And other franchises as well. Even the Diamondbacks have done a good job of identifying talent, bringing them up, and utilizing young talent. And then playing, obviously, within a set limit on payroll. If you're smart enough to do that, where you, again, think about like this. Think about how the A's used to be before – they really fell off. This is how Moneyball is. I don't really care about that part. I'm saying they had guys that they would grow in their farm system. They would play them while they're under player control early, and then when they hit free agency, it's like, see ya, we're fine. We'll take the compensation draft pick, and then we'll use that and get another guy, and we'll do the same thing without ever having to open the checkbook and really write a big check. So they've done that. And they've done that as a small market team. Now, the Cardinals are not a small market team. So if DeWitt comes in and says, you got to spend this amount of money, then you have to be smart enough to go, okay, let's get creative with what restrictions we have. And there are a lot of teams that are good, have had good management that can do that. The Cardinals have not been able to do that. Mozeliak has not been able to do with whatever. And I'm not saying that him and DeWitt are buddy on all this where they think the same way. I think you have to play within your boundaries, and I don't think Mozeliak got to the point where he was good enough to do that. He didn't have the same carte blanche maybe he had in the past, and maybe DeWitt wanted to put more in his pocket rather than spending it than what he did in the past. But when you get this, you have to take. It's like I got to take these lemons and make lemonade with them. I can't just sit here and cry and hold lemons. And it'll work out.
So I'm going to piggyback off of that, and I'm going to add to what David Jarvis says when he's talking about they need to analyze their talent better, and they keep the wrong players. Okay, that goes into what we hear every day on the radio, whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon, before school or after school, when they talk about philosophy. What is the Cardinals' philosophy? If you sat and asked, DeWallet, if you ask Mo and say, what is the philosophy? What are your core pillars? What's your foundation? What's your structure of what? I don't think they know. Like if you want to, and if you just want to say to make money, okay, fine. That is your right. You're the owner. Then, okay, great. That's your philosophy. You want to get 3 million people in. You want to make money. Great. But that's not a philosophy for winning baseball. And when it comes to execution and when it comes to the field and the performance, I don't see it. So, when David says, analyzing talent and they keep the wrong players, I think he's right. And I think it goes into they keep the wrong guys because they don't have a clue. Like it's just a mismatch of, well, let's see how this guy does. Let's see how this guy performs. And it's not even a square peg in a round hole. It's this guy might perform, so let's get him on the roster. You watch.
Tommy Edman will do something special for the Dodgers during the playoff run. I'm not saying that they should have kept him. I just you watch, he'll do something. I bet money on it.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know, man. We just are. The Cardinal way is gone. Everything that
it's in San Diego.
Everything that was the Cardinal way is gone.
And that's what's sad is because that was by design, guys. It's not. That's the thing. The buck stops with DeWitt. The buck stops with Mo. That was 100% by design. And I think when Walt Jocketty left and when LaRussa left and Duncan left and all of that, I think it was like, hey, you know what? I need to make a name for myself and not ride their coattails. And I'm gonna do better. I know more. And that's what's sad is, and again, I like the idea of Moneyball. I like the idea of analytics to a point, but it's at some level, it does come back to what's the eyeball test when it comes to you gotta throw, you gotta field, you gotta hit. And it's pretty simple.
But Zach, it doesn't come down to analytics because they're not even good at it. Like again, we've talked about this ad nauseum.
Yeah,
they do not make good decisions with analytics. I mean, here's perfect examples. And again, if it's a front office thing, great. But Ollie's got an opportunity with the bases loaded, and he puts in Jose Fermin, who's only been here like 2 weeks, and he's been up and down. He's on the bus to Memphis half the time more than he is in the locker room. And you got Gorman sitting on the bench, who's your young stud. What a great opportunity to boost some confidence or put him in situations like, listen, man, I know, hey, you got this. What? Why are you putting that guy in? I got that guy. I got this kid.
Yeah.
He didn't play like the last quarter of the season in the big league in the big leagues for the Cardinals, and I think he finished second in home runs. So why is he rotting on the bench there? Okay, that makes no sense. So what analytic did you read? Oh well, this guy hits him better. The 2 times that he had at bats against him, Is that real sample size? I mean, really? You want to bet the farm on that? So again, they're not good at that. And you're right. They do not have an identity. What are they good at? What are they good at? Mediocrity. That's what the Cardinals are good at right now. Mediocrity. Might make it in. I mean, think about it like this. The freaking Tigers make the playoffs and they win a series. They are in the ALDS. The Detroit freaking Tigers, who were so bad the last couple of years. What did they do? They invested in their young guys and they played their young guys. They got a pitcher. They used him. And
you mean like that young guy the Cardinals have that looks so good that will put
McGreevy?
That will put in the bullpen?
Wait. McGreevy? What? Tell me something. We already started the clock on his ass. Why did he stay in Memphis all year? What could we have used 6 to 7 solid innings of baseball pitched every game? Instead, we went with some innings eaters, guys that were over the hill. Are you kidding me?
And I will say Gibson was solid. He was.
I thought Sonny Gray did fine. You know, he was.
Except he got tired. Yeah, he's not an ace pitcher. Then there's a problem. You just said it. They're old. That's because you're signing free agents. And when guys hit free agency, if they hit free agency late in life, like later in their playing career, those lives, they're old and they want long-term deals. Now they don't get them like they used to, but I mean, come on. You got a guy who you just wasted time with him by not using him because you brought him up for like 3. Okay, that's great. And then he's going back down, and we could have used that. We could have used that all year. How many wins does that equate to if you pitch McGreevy?
Hey,
I'm asking. It's a serious question.
I know.
Instead of Steven Matz. Stephen Matz.
How about
Michaelis? There we go. I was like, who's the other one? Michaelis.
Yeah.
If I take McGreevy and I give his starts to his starts instead of, let's say, half of each of those guys, how many more games does that win me?
Right.
Okay. So again, what is the direction? What are we doing? We just wasted a whole year. It's a bridge year. And now we got another bridge year because we didn't fire Mozeliak, reassign him, move him, anything like that, so we could protect his legacy. Piss on his freaking legacy. if he hasn't already established a legacy with what he's done since he's been the GM of the Cardinals, what's this freaking year going to do?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing. I'll tell you what it's going to do. It's going to piss off a fan base. It's going to drive more people away from watching the Cardinals, and then they're going to make more excuses why they can't do this and can't do that and can't do this. And I want to jump after we get back from break. I want to jump into that whole thing about we ain't got the revenue because you guys don't show up to the games, and that goes directly into salary. I definitely want to cover that.
I mean, I'm sitting here watching, bits and pieces of this Padres game, and Joe Musgrove would be better than any pitcher we have.
He will.
I believe we could have got him. I think that was one of the guys that they talked about.
That's what free agency means, that you're free to go other places.
That was going to be my other point.
You're free to move about the country.
That's a guy we could have got. and he's better. He's better than anyone on our staff.
Well, and the thing about it, Chris, before you want to go to break, and I'll give Kevin the credit because he's the one that sent this picture where it's talking about Arizona, the Arizona owner blasting the signing of Jordan Montgomery and saying that 2-year, $47.5 million contract, he's blaming himself. Did you hear that? He's blaming himself for making the recommendations to the front office late in spring training. An owner taking accountability for himself and saying, you know what, I screwed up. That's all. Well, not all, but how much would that go? How long of a way would that go to the Cardinal Nation if Mo would quit his smug look and smug talk and dwell it the same way and have some daggum accountability and say, you know what,
but
maybe we are screwing up.
You have to have balls to do that. You have to have balls. and I don't
Mathers.
I'm not too sure that DeWallet has any, because really you had to fire sale and you needed to you just need to get rid of Mo. Hey Mo, here, take your money, get the hell out. You're done. Hey, guess what? Mo did some good things for us, right? I mean, he did.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
So his legacy is fine. What do you care about his legacy? You're going to run the Cardinals, one of the most prestigious organizations in the MLB, into the shitter because you're worried about Joe, Mo, whoever.
No, they're worried about dough. They're worried about dough. That's all they're worried about.
There you go. You were going to
Mo or dough.
He was going to get there at some point.
And Skip Schumacher is right there where you can insert him. And God, we're stupid. I hate our organization has just went down the tubes. I hate it.
It doesn't make any sense, does it? All right, we come back. There's plenty more to talk about. You're watching the Coach's Box.
I hate the Cardinals.
Wow. Hey.
I'm a bee, and I bumbled my way into your car. Buzz. But this hive isn't big enough for the both of us. Boo! Oh, wow, what a buzzkill. And if you don't have the right auto insurance coverage, paying for this could really sting. So get Allstate, save money, and be protected from mayhem. Like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
It's Between Takes with Dyken and Dave Mars.
Cut. All right, next set up.
Hey, Dave, we got another question about energy savings. And this is a good one.
Yeah, efficiency is so important.
Didn't you just talk with Dyken about this?
They said energy efficiency is the key to a happy marriage. She gets the temperature, I get the savings.
Good to know. I'll tell them to check with their local Dyken dealer.
All right, back to one.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com.
You need new entertainment. You need full-length content. You need the Real Fresh channel. Hey, I'm Health Fresh from the Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today on YouTube. We have new content. We are a network of podcasters putting out new stuff every single day. Whether you need sports, pro or college, whether you need comedies, whether you need pop culture, whether you need wrestling, we've got so much content on there. Gaming, check it out. Live, not live, we've got it all. The Real Fresh channel, subscribe today.
Welcome back, Jason. I mean, everybody, to the Coach's Box. Second segment. Gosh, you don't get the time down by now, or what?
No, my dog. I had to let my dog out, man.
Oh, so I don't have to ask you who let the dogs out. You must have.
I told you guys I left the volleyball game because I was frustrated. They lost 2 sets. Well, now they've won 2 in a row, and they're going for the win. And
That's karma.
That's
perfect.
So I'm going to hear it from Jill when I get to school tomorrow. But hopefully they'll close it out and win. They need a win.
Well, she did dress like you, so
she looked pretty damn.
Hey,
did she
do that?
She didn't do your pose. No.
that's pretty awesome.
She should have had a clipboard under her arms, or the dry erase board under her arms. She should have. Yeah, you know.
Well, so we've been talking about the Cardinals end of season press conference. I want to touch on it just a little bit longer, and we can move on. I know it's much to your chagrin. I just love making your day, Jason. So just there's been a couple articles out there too, because obviously one of the big points of the whole press conference was the Cardinals plan to cut salaries, and that's why they're talking about making, trading Arenado, possibly trading Sonny Gray, who they just signed. Wilson Contreras has a big contract right now with them. So the question is who's going to be able to stay, who's going to go. Several guys I think have no trade clauses too. But the question, obviously everybody saw as the year went on, and as bad as they played, attendance was down because, hey, the BFIB goes, we're not going to pay money, as prices go up because, the cost of living and everything else goes up. So do ticket prices for the Cardinals, except when they basically had to give them away and StubHub was making money and there was, free tickets. And that still didn't really send people out in droves to the games. It just shows you that nobody wants to go watch bad baseball, or it's ran by a bunch of idiots. So the thing is that doesn't make sense, as they said, obviously with the revenues and stuff, with the attendance, that there's going to be that they need to make all these changes to the salaries. The thing that really doesn't make sense to me is they're going to make money. They make money. There's a large margin of profit for them, despite the consumer that's buying the tickets. I don't care what they say. I know that the Bally Sports situation's a big deal, and it was a bigger deal today as Diamond, who owns Bally Sports, who bought them or operates them or however the hell it is, basically said they're dropping all of their MLB games except for the Braves and moving forward. And the Cardinals have no TV channel that they're on. So that's a big chunk of change. However, they make enough money to be able to maintain a high level of competitive salary and payroll. But they're not going to do that because that takes money out of, as Jason
said, wallet.
Fellas, hey, what's your take on all this?
Yeah, I said this years ago, and you guys all slammed me when I said they didn't re-sign Pujols when his contract went up because they wanted to keep their profit margin. That's all they cared about, and that was a decade.
Well, you sounded dumb back then. It sounds smart now.
Yeah, again, at some point,
it must be the gray in your beard. It makes you wiser,
right? It's just at some point. Hey, it is what it is, and it just the last I checked, and this was years ago, I think the Cardinals' business valuation was like over $2.3 billion or something like that. If you're not going to spend, just sell it, sell the team, go live wherever, go do whatever you're doing, and let somebody come in that's willing to spend money. And people can bash Mark Cuban all they want for his viewpoints on things or whatever. Again, you're a billionaire. You can have those ideas and say what you want. But he is everything that's right with ownership for a sports team, because he took that Dallas Maverick program from nothing and said, I'm going to invest in the players. I'm going to get the best and then I'm going to, in doing so, that's going to allow me to get the best players in. And they've been competitive year after year after year under his ownership, because he's not afraid to spend, because he knows a sports team is not where he makes his money. This is a hobby for him.
Right.
That's what I don't understand with DeWitt and that group. This is a hobby for you. If you're not willing to go out and play for championships and put together, like, what are you doing this for? Like, literally, what are you doing this for? It boggles my mind, and I get it. We're the poor people, and we're just the average Joe citizen. But you know what? I think all of us, if we had an opportunity to own that franchise, we would be like, you know what? If we lose money, we lose money, but we want to win because we're competitors. And I don't see
it's
them
a
being
tax write-off. It should be a tax write-off for your regular business. I mean, it is like one out of 1 year out of 7, you can go ahead and make a profit, and then the other 6 you don't. I mean, seriously, you run a business and you're looking for your tax write-offs. Like, I need to keep this receipt. Let's see, Nolan Arenado, $26 million here. Take this. Let's see, Goldschmidt, $24 million. Yeah, take that one. And
Ferrari, you might want to keep that one.
I mean, I mean, what? I don't understand you're right, but none of these guys are going to do that because it's like, well, I'm the owner of the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, then do something, man. I mean, we don't want to sit here. No baseball fan, especially in this town that's our age, wants to sit around and watch a bunch of bad baseball. Once they got to a certain point in the season, I've never watched another game, like on TV. I checked the score.
No, I didn't.
I checked the score, but I was just done.
I watched them. I'm diehard. That's what I do.
I got other things I can do.
Hey, you know what? I watched a reel popped up, and it was the 2003 All-Star game. And you want to know what the National League All-Star starting roster was? You ready? 2-hole, shortstop, St. Louis Cardinals, Edgar Renteria. 3-hole, Jim Edmonds, center field for the St. Louis Cardinals. 4-hole, first base, Albert Pujols in the All-Star game. Yeah. That's what we grew up with. That's what we know. That's what we want for this franchise.
That's what we deserve. Damn it.
And
I want answers. I want answers. You know? I mean, I do. I mean, it's as a fan, I just want to know why. Like, you're never going to get it's always this talking out the side of your mouth crap. Like, we're all a bunch of stupid idiots who have no idea. Okay, what I love about this is everybody who's used to buying tickets to go to the games, they're just like, okay, if you think we're that dumb, we just won't go.
Called the smartest. Not only are we the best fans in baseball, we also are the smartest fans in baseball. I mean, you always hear stories about the St. Louis fans. They know their baseball. So again, we
know this is shit. That's what we know.
Yeah. What's the phrase? You know, don't pee on me and tell me
piss down my back and tell me it's raining. Outlaw Josie Wales. What a great movie that is. But it's the truth. I mean, what are you trying to tell us? Well, you're sitting there telling us that the revenue from attendance goes directly into salaries and payroll. You're lying. You're lying. Okay. How many, again, you want to talk about fact checking? Go back through that press conference and let's fact check that. Hey, you can take the right wing news and the left wing news, put them together. I bet you they fact check the hell out of that, because what a bunch of BS. And that's all they fed us the whole time was a bunch of BS. And then the fact that everybody thinks that, or everybody in that room thinks that this is going to work with Mozeliak and Bloom. I got to tell you, man, one of those guys might quit. I don't. Jason and I disagree when you say it'll be the same. They might be the same because in the same sense that DeWitt sets the boundaries, but those guys are not going to think the exact same way. You got one guy who's trying to make a name for himself and do something. He doesn't have the same legacy that a John Mozeliak has.
I hope you're right.
But then you also have But then you also have John, who's still there, and he's like, well, Heim, that's not what we do here. And it's going to be that kind of crap all year. So what's really going to get done?
No, so then the other guy's got to say, get the out.
What? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Get out. You're done. Shut up.
He's not going to. He's not going to. Otherwise, they'd have done that.
Yeah.
Blue should have never agreed to the deal unless he's gone. Like that, because he actually was employed by the Cardinals last year. He was employed by the Cardinals, and he canvassed the minor league system and things they need. So his deal then should have been, listen, I'm going to do this. But he's got to go. And I mean, listen, we can all say what we want about Mozeliak, and he is the main perpetrator because he did put this roster together. But it's time. And with no disrespect to what he's done, he has done a lot of good things. But his time is up. He is not in touch with how baseball is played or roster construction works today. They do not go out in any shape or form and spend money on international players. Okay, I can't stress this enough, and I will say this in the most non-racist way possible. We've got a bunch of pasty white dudes on our teams, and which guys do we not get? We don't get Dominican players. We don't get Cuban players. We don't spend the money on those guys, and the guys that we do get, we ship them off. Rosarena,
that's what I don't get. You can get those guys on the international market relatively cheap compared to what you're going to have to get in the draft or free agency. I mean, what was the dude from the Royals reliever who was doing great in the second half? I think they got him for like $60,000 in the international market. It's like,
that's what I'm saying. It's there. We don't utilize it. Now, maybe that's a part of the lower level player development, scouting stuff. I don't know. I mean, maybe Randy Flores is afraid to go into the Caribbean and do some scouting. Maybe he's afraid somebody's going to light one of his fastballs up doing 82 miles an hour. I don't know what they're doing, and that makes no sense when you have better players at 17, 18, 19 years old that come out of the Caribbean and Mexico and Central America than what you have coming out of, high school right now as baseball players, or, going and getting those guys from Vandy and LSU and top tier SEC baseball programs.
Right.
We are starting to get some of those guys, but we definitely do not, under any shape or form, spend money and go and utilize the international market like other teams do. And I think that number one, that puts you at a huge disadvantage, obviously on the talent standpoint, because like those guys are really talented. But if there's a big free agent who comes available, like a Juan Soto or Manny Machado, you have zero chance of bringing those guys here without a base of guys that are again, I'm going to look around and I don't see anybody who looks like me or talks like me. I'm not going to go there and hang out. Okay. You're not going to. Nobody's going to. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Who is? That's human nature. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to.
I can't talk about the Cardinals anymore.
You get triggered? Do I get ready off the show?
I hate everything that the Cardinals are about right now.
Making money.
Everything. All they're worried about is getting 3 million minions to go up in there and watch them.
Get up in there. Well, let's pivot on topics. We did
pivot on something, please.
Hey, so let's do something that will make Jason happy. Put your alma mater on, and let's hear your thoughts on Festus upsetting or beating Hillsborough last week.
I want first off,
yes.
It wasn't an upset because Festus is winning the state championship this year. That's what I keep hearing. I'm just hearing
Whoa, that's bold. That's real
Okay.
bold.
But
But
it's been a long time since they
Okay.
beat the Hillsboro Hawks.
Yeah.
I think it's like 8 years.
Wow. I
That's
didn't
been a
know they
bit.
had a stranglehold for so long.
Something like that.
Stuck in the stranglehold, baby. Oh, sorry. It's a good song.
Something like that. I'm texting my boys to see what it really was. But
Yeah.
but
Like
it
Jason,
Was
my
it
boys.
14-7, 14-10, something like that?
14-7. It was like 14-7 forever, I guess. It was
Yeah.
a defensive battle, which kind of surprising, but
Well, you say that surprising. I watched that first drive, and Festus just went boom, 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 boom. I mean, like butter. They just went down, got an easy score, and I thought, okay. I mean, they look like the real deal. And
they must have had.
You
Go
guys
ahead,
got to
Jason.
learn to talk at the same. Can't
Go
talk
ahead.
at the same time.
Go on.
Yeah.
I was letting him finish. My bad.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and then it just, I don't know. After that, website or whatever cut out, and you can never go back to it. But and I just odd that it wasn't on Misha TV for some reason. But anyway, but after that, it just kind of seemed like, hey, maybe both teams just stalled out, or the fact that maybe there's really, really good coaching on both sides of the sidelines over there and making some adjustments. So I don't know. Jason, go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't hear much about the game except that Festus won. I know that Festus's quarterbacks had 104 yards passing, and so there was some passes done. But I just don't have a lot of information.
All right. Well, from
So
a
much
fan
for the alma mater.
standpoint, Jason. From a fan standpoint, Jason, and alumni, how do you feel about that? It's pretty awesome. Exciting.
Well, it is awesome because I never lost to Hillsboro, and losing to Hillsboro sucks.
Well, there you go.
As a Tiger, and it's funny, we were talking about this. One of my actually, he's been playing varsity all year, but one of our players, I didn't realize their dad was a '94 grad from Hillsboro, and we played against each other. And we owned them, by the way. But we beat them. Yes, my junior and senior year. But losing to Hillsboro, Hillsboro Festus, that's like a big deal, no matter what sport it is. And Festus needed to get that off their back before they could do anything else, in my opinion. So hopefully, hopefully this catapults them on the rest of the year. And I always look to see what the score is. It's not like, oh my God, I'm Tiger. No, I'm a Black Cat, damn it. But I still root for my Tigers. We just had our 30th reunion a couple weeks ago. So
30?
Wow.
30. Bro. See this gray? I'm old, man.
Jeez, Jason.
Yep. 30 years I've been out of high school, man.
I mean,
that just means I'm a lot more close to retirement than you two.
You're also closer to death.
Should have been 35. Some of the best 8 years of his life, but
Actually, this should be my 27th year, I guess. Really, wait, 1994 grad. Yeah, I should. Yeah, something.
Did you go to the wrong reunion?
Huh?
Did you go to the wrong reunion?
Jarvis. There's a Jarvis that's supposed to be here.
Hey guys, what's up?
I meant college. I'm talking about college.
Oh, okay.
It took me 5.5 years to get out of college. Most people that do that are doctors, but it's okay.
Oh, at least they're maybe nurse practitioners.
But
all
right.
I could not be a nurse. There's no way.
Nurse fucker.
Could you imagine Jarvis having to do sponge baths on people?
No, I don't want to have that thought ever cross my mind, Zach. Not ever. I'm really fighting it right now to where it's not in my mind ever.
Oh my goodness!
Wow, that was an image we could have done without.
That's why the show is free.
True.
I'll tell you what. We got a lot more viewers probably this week than we will any other weeks because there's some people not here. But anyway, yeah.
God, here we go.
All right.
Well we're going to go into we're going to run into a break, and then we come back since we went longer on our first segment, bitching about the Cardinals. When we come back, we will not talk about the Cardinals.
That was bitching?
No, we did.
Hey, there's
bitching ain't easy.
Well, I put it in our group though. Festus 5-0, right? Mm-hmm. What other 5-0 teams around?
I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of high school football, or
I don't think I really don't think there's many.
Locally?
Yeah. I don't think there's any locally.
I don't know, man.
Have to check the rubber bands on that.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll do some research while we're off the air here.
Yeah, you do that. All right, we come back. More Coach's Box.
I'm a bee, and I bumbled my way into your car. Buzz. But this hive isn't big enough for the both of us. Boo!
Oh, wow, what a buzzkill. And if you don't have the right auto insurance coverage,
paying for this could really sting. So get Allstate, save money, and be protected from mayhem. Like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
It's Between Takes with Daikin and Dave Mars.
Cut. All right, next set up.
Hey, Dave, we got another question about energy savings. And this is a good one.
Yeah, efficiency is so important.
Didn't you just talk with Daikin about this?
They said energy efficiency is the key to a happy marriage. She gets the temperature, I get the savings.
Good to know. I'll tell them to check with their local Daikin dealer.
All right, back to one.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com.
You need new entertainment? You need full-length content? You need the Real Fresh channel. Hey, I'm How Fresh from the Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today on YouTube. We have new content. We are a network of podcasters putting out new stuff every single day. Whether you need sports, pro or college, whether you need comedies, whether you need pop culture, whether you need wrestling, we've got so much content on there. Gaming, check it out. Live, not live, we've got it all. The Real Fresh channel, subscribe today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the third and final segment of the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast. If you're watching, you're probably watching on Facebook, X, or on the YouTubes. Appreciate you guys doing that, and you can continue watching it, and we like to bring you this for the grand total of $0. Unlike the Cardinals, we know that you have to work really hard for your money, so we don't want you to have to spend money to watch this absolute train wreck of a podcast that we like to put out there for you. So we do it for free, behind no paywalls. And just continue to like, share, comment, and please do that. And if you know anybody who's interested in being a sponsor, we always appreciate those sponsors. And if you want to comment, just go ahead and do so. We won't attack you too much unless we really like you, because that's what we do. We just give each other a hard time. But Zach, with all of that said and the housekeeping done, what is our next topic?
Well, let's talk a little pro football, a little NFL. Pro football. So there are 2 teams left. So Jarvis kind of brought up.
There's only 2 teams left in the league?
No, 2 teams that are undefeated. 2 teams that are undefeated. And one of those happens to be based out of Missouri. So that would be the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at 4-0.
Yes, the Chiefs.
Yep. Who's the other 4-0 team, if you guys had to take a guess? And would you have thought, would you have put money on that this team would be 4-0?
Pick me.
Go ahead, Chris.
Are they in Washington?
No, they are not in Washington.
Oh.
No.
Okay, well, I was hoping the Redskins were undefeated.
Good try.
Well, they could be undefeated because that's, there are no more Redskins.
I know.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Go ahead.
Dave Jarvis just answered.
Yep. Minnesota. Would you have winner? So again, Jason, I'm going to highlight Jason on this because he brought this up, and it's twofold here. I want to first talk about, and it's quarterback related. Okay. So would you have thought about all of these quarterbacks that have transitioned to new franchises playing as well as they have? And, Jason, since you kind of brought this up, you can kind of set the bar here with your opinion. But like Sam Darnold, really?
Yeah, he was a stud.
Go ahead. So is it an organizational issue? Is it just like, again, is it player development? Go ahead, Jason. I mean, who would have thought this?
Did you see the interview with Aaron Rodgers? That he talked about how all these guys that everyone just wrote off as having great years, and Sam Darnold was one of them.
Yeah,
and like he said like Daniels in Washington. That's an anomaly. I mean, you don't see a lot of rookies step in and do what he's done.
Right.
Rodgers talked about how it takes some time at quarterback. Usually, even a first-round pick, it's going to take some time to just adapt to this game. Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks go from being in shotgun all the time in college.
Yep.
Not under center, being told where to throw the ball, not having to make reads. All those things, you combine them all. Look at all the quarterbacks. Other Sam Darnold, I'll come back to him in Minnesota in a minute. Baker Mayfield having a hell of a year.
Yep.
All right. Look at they get drafted.
Look at Geno Smith.
Yeah. Dave brings up a good point. They get drafted by a team that is absolutely horrible.
Right.
Yep.
And then they got to play behind a lot of times an offensive line that can't block a soul.
Right.
And then they finally get on a team that's good. But I mean, you got Fields. I know he hadn't played great, but Pittsburgh's
definitely playing better than what he did in Chicago.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh's what, 3-1? The Sam Darnold thing, if you heard a lot of his ex-teammates talk about him, and he was a number 1 draft pick, right?
He was picked 3rd overall.
Yeah, 3rd overall. Okay, not number 1.
First round draft pick.
First round draft pick, 3rd overall. Played for some crappy teams.
Yep.
He lucks out this year. I mean, everybody was saying, oh, JJ McCarthy, they're done. Like, Minnesota's not going to be very good. They got Sam Darnold, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And if you talk to his former players, the Jets, they sit there and had nothing but high things to say about him. And many of them said no surprise that he's doing this well.
So let's stay with him and ask this question. You're the coach and or your ownership. Let's say Minnesota continues to have a great regular season. Maybe they put
got to
together
keep playing his ass.
a postseason run.
I know what you're getting ready to ask.
JJ comes back next year. That's who you invested your pick on. That's who you're going to invest your money in. What do you do as the coach, and what do you do as ownership?
Have a seat, son.
Hey,
you're going to sit Sam, or you're going to sit JJ?
No,
you ride the hot hand. As an NFL coach, what's your coaching life shelf? Your life. Okay, well, I'm going to play the guy who's hot.
Hey,
and I don't really give a damn what the management says, because if I can win, I can go somewhere else and I can get a job.
Hey, let's rewind way back.
Okay,
and go back.
The Wayback Machine.
Go back to when Drew Bledsoe, or not Drew? Yeah, Drew Bledsoe gets hurt.
Yeah, but that's an injury. Come on.
It's
not the same. It's that whole situation's a different thing.
But what I'm saying is,
I know what your point is.
We never have Tom. Do we ever have Tom Brady like we did?
No.
If that never happens.
No.
I mean, Drew
don't have Albert Pujols if Bobby Bonilla doesn't get hurt.
Okay, so Drew Bledsoe was a hell of a quarterback.
Yeah,
gets hurt. Tom Brady comes in.
Yeah,
and never
Kurt
looks
Warner.
back.
You have Kurt Warner.
Now you have Sam Darnold. I think Minnesota, it's going to be hard to swallow, but I think you got to keep playing. If they win, make the playoffs, have a good run, you have to come back with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to jump in on this a little bit too. So I'm looking at three guys' stats in Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, and Sam Darnold. The crazy thing about Mayfield and Darnold is this: they both were having good careers at the places they were at before everybody just kind of gave up on them. Now, obviously, Darnold's last year with the Jets wasn't good, but he's played. Let's start with him. Darnold's played for the Jets, the Panthers. He got some playing time in San Francisco last year, and obviously now he's in Minnesota. You know, he has thrown more touchdowns than interceptions, believe it or not, in his career. So, I mean, and he's thrown for 12,000 yards in a short amount of time that he's had opportunities. Then you go to Mayfield, and Mayfield is an interesting thing because it's Cleveland, so everybody expects you to win right away in Cleveland, but not now because, God forbid, I mean, you had to give all that money to Deshaun Watson and see how that worked out. But he's always thrown more touchdowns, interceptions outside of his part of his 7 games in Carolina before he got traded to the Rams. He's played for 4 teams now.
Mm-hmm.
He just wins when you get like Geno Smith, who is 33 years old, and he's like this retread who he sucked right out of the gate with the Jets. Oh my gosh. Then played for the Giants.
Theme going on.
Yeah, I know, right? The Giants. He got 5 games as a backup with the Chargers, and then ends up in Seattle. And then he starts in this backup. Next thing you know, he has to turn out and play. He's thrown for 4,000 yards a couple of years ago, last year, and he's had now a pretty good career because he made some. But you get in the right situation, so. You talk about like, okay, we're going back to this just for a second, Jason, so don't blow up. The Cardinals and the way they handled their young players, a lot of NFL teams do this. Like they do not handle their young talent correctly. You're correct. They don't have to make reads in college. They tell them where to go. It's a 1-read pass offense out of the shotgun. And you don't get that in the NFL. And that hole or that guy that was open in college, man, he's open, but by the time that you have to decide to make that throw, he is not open, and that's picked. There's so much more that goes into the game, and I think this was said on the fast lane today when I was listening to it. Jamie Rivers is asking Kerry Davis, why aren't college teams making these guys better for the pros? And he's like, because that ain't how it is. It's about us winning now in the college ranks. In hockey, like, it's about skill development and winning. So
yeah, I was like, Jamie Rivers doesn't understand,
but he's not wrong in how hockey does things.
Yeah,
and and here I'm going to throw this out at you 100%. This is the Americanization of sports in comparison to how hockey still has its foot in international development, because it is such a worldwide sport. It's obviously not an American sport, but it's not just on winning, like the way we are with our AAU and our select, and it's like games and one or two practices. Like they have practices and then they have skill sessions in hockey. I thought that was pretty interesting. But then you turn around and you have the same problems in football
in Europe and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. That's why their players are more skilled. So think about it from football in that standpoint. We saw, especially with quarterbacks who have so much information that they have to process in 2 seconds.
And that's my issue. If that's the case, and you are this organization, you're the Jets, you're the Carolina Panthers, you're this perennial team, the Browns, that are always drafting high, then why are you not doing the KISS method and paring things down and changing the game of pro football and saying,
I just told you why. I told you why.
No, the NFL. The NFL.
I know.
Why
the
are
NFL
they not
does
changing?
Because they don't care. The league does not care about that, because they're going to make money hand over fist, because nobody's saying, man, these guys suck, I'm not going to a football game.
But if I'm a coach,
you're not doing that.
If I'm a coach that wants to maybe stick around for the length of my contract, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, here's my guy that I took my number 1 draft pick with. I'm going to adapt my offense around what he does well and what he knows. And instead of having a John Gruden 50,000 syllable play, I'm going to pare it down and say, this guy is a 21, 22-year-old pup. Let's keep it simple and say, we're going to do this, and this is what we're going to do. Again, have an identity. That's why I think Cam Newton did well when he came out of college, was that they're like, this dude's 6'6", 250. We're going to go ahead and run him. We're going to go ahead and do what he did well in college, and we're going to read option. And you know what? We're going to have some success. And, to probably shortened his career by several years, but they won with him. So
made a lot of money.
He made a lot of money. They won. So why is that not the blueprint for all of these
The quarterback has changed in the NFL. Quarterback has drastically changed in the last few years. Let's say 5 to 10 years, maybe. If you can't run, there's not too many Tom Brady's, there's not too many Peyton Mannings, there's not too many guys just stand in the pocket. The game has changed.
Yes.
I just found it fascinating, all these retreads doing so well right now. And a lot of people were down on Allen in Buffalo, saying all the mistakes he made, blah, blah. And he's having a hell of a year.
But that's the guy. Okay, he's the Brett Favre of this generation, where it's high risk, high reward, and that you're going to take that. You're going to take all of the great plays and outstanding plays that he makes, and his arm, and all the things that he can do that Brett Favre did, and you're going to go ahead and say, you know what, he's going to throw a couple extra picks because he's trying to make a play. But they've won. They've won, and they've been in the playoffs, which segues into the other team that I wanted to talk about, which is the Chiefs. He's playing against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. If he probably was in the NFC, he's probably in the Super Bowl. And nobody's complaining about what he does. So, Jason and Chris, you guys tell me. I've got my opinion on it, but you tell me, because Jason, you said, "Oh, Travis Kelce doesn't look like himself." I would say the Chiefs don't exactly look like themselves. What are your thoughts on that? And I've got my opinion on it, but you guys go ahead first.
On the Chiefs?
Yeah, on the Chiefs, because you in your notes you said
I'm gonna say just like I did with Mizzou. What's their record?
Right.
What's their record?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
What's their no? Tell me what the record is.
4-0.
Okay.
Just win, baby.
Just win.
Just win, baby.
Guess what? 4-0. Get in the playoffs. See what happens.
Well,
yeah. The difference between the Chiefs and the Cardinals is they go into playoffs and they just win. The Cardinals get in the playoffs and they just like, well, thanks for playing.
Right.
Yeah. I think the Kelce thing is one, he's been hanging out with this girl a little too much and got a little chubby. Two,
women weaken legs.
They do weaken legs. Is what I've heard. Two,
off Rocky.
I think defenses have said we're going to shut this guy down. Let's make everyone else beat us. I still think the Chiefs are going to be there at the end. I just, man, they did lose in losing their receiver this week. Oh, rough.
Right now, there's reports that are tying the Chiefs to Amari Cooper from Cleveland.
Well, Amari Cooper, another guy, has been Las Vegas's
Von Adams.
He's
narrowed his. He only wants to go to 2 teams, so
he would go to the Chiefs. He'd be.
I was gonna say if it means winning and playing with Patrick Mahomes.
Well, so first off, I'm going to tell you. Wait, hang on, wait, no, guys,
okay.
You understand? The Raiders will never trade him to the Chiefs.
Right? No,
I think you guys just missed my whole point to that.
Yeah,
anyway.
Maybe
he ain't going there. That's not happening. Mark Davis will nix that so quick it doesn't even matter. If the Chiefs gave every first-round draft pick from here to eternity, he would say no because it's the Chiefs.
Right.
On principle, because that's what Al says.
And I hate
Al would show up out of the grave and kick his ass.
I hate it. I hate agreeing with my brother so much tonight. But
that's weird.
He is right. The Chiefs defense has helped them out.
Yeah.
And they'll get the offense figured out. I mean,
games.
Here's my thought. How many consecutive seasons has Kansas City been to the Super Bowl?
Oh, it's a lot.
At least three in a row. They've won 2 in a row.
Right.
And I think at minimum 3, maybe even more than that.
No. They've been 3 out of the last 4 years.
Okay, 3 out of the last 4 years. There is something to be said about having that long of a season and then winning, and then you're going to go party. You're going to go through all of the things that winners do after you win the Super Bowl, and you're turn right around. Baby. Yeah, and then you turn right around, and then you're in camp. God, they're worn out, man. They're getting
Don't make
older.
excuses. They're fine.
They've been in the
I
Super
know they're
Bowl.
fine. I know they're fine.
Since 2019.
Right.
They've been in the Super Bowl 4 times.
No.
Since 2019.
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay. Tired legs, man. Winning sometimes weakens the legs because you're like, that's a long season. Again, when Kittle's talking about, hey, I'm getting in a car wreck, 60 times every day on Sunday, that's going to happen. Your body's going to naturally break down, and you go through the playoffs, and again, they look like a team that has just always been playing year after year after year. So again,
watching the game, Dave brings up Bolton from Mizzou is an absolute freaking stud, man.
There he is.
He is fun to watch, and
so
he makes plays when they need plays. Their defense has carried them so far. The offense will come. I think Kareem Hunt is going to be a big difference maker for them because they're going to have a running game. Losing Pacquiao or whatever.
Pacheco.
Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao.
Pacquiao, Pacheco.
About the same size, aren't they?
Been a long week, man.
I'm sorry. You would expect me to feel sorry for you? Josh Allen, man. I mean, he hasn't even thrown a pick yet this year, and everybody's dogging him after the Ravens won. It's like, shut up, man. Like, what else does he got to do? He's not. He can't be perfect all the time. Jeez,
no,
get over it.
No,
it's just and that going back to your original question, Zach, about why teams and coaches won't do this. Because they're going to get fired if they're not winning, okay? You don't draft the guy and have him sit. Unless you're Mike Tomlin and you have the Pittsburgh Steelers who might not ever fire you as your owners. I mean, how many coaches the Steelers had in their history? What, 5?
I say
5.
Probably not many. Yeah.
How many of the Jaguars had in the last 7 years? 5, right? Something like that. Okay. So my point is this. You do not have that luxury as an NFL head coach, because that's what's going to happen to you if you're not winning. So you would have to sell the entire fan base, the entire ownership group, person, whoever, general manager, whoever, on we are going to develop our players and they all have to be bought in. And if the fan base isn't bought in, but everybody else is, well, what happens when the fan base doesn't believe in what's happening? See 2024 St. Louis Cardinal fans. They don't show up. And you don't have 100. You don't have what, 80, 84, 82, whatever it is, 81 baseball games.
Yeah.
To draw revenue from. You get 8, unless you're Jacksonville and you lose 1 to London every year.
Yeah.
So how are you making that money? The revenue sharing, it's not enough to cover some of that stuff. So you don't get that luxury. I'm just saying it's in theory, it makes all kinds of sense. In reality, it isn't going to work. It should happen, but they're not going to do it.
I guess my point, my whole point on that is, why not make a playbook, an offensive playbook built around your first round draft pick? And why would you put him in a situation where he can't succeed if it's that pro style type of offense versus, hey, we drafted you because you obviously did something good in college. Why don't we go ahead and just continue that and say, you know what, that's what you're good at. We'll just build and just continue to build off of that style of play.
Hadn't that been what Washington's done?
Well, I mean, I think the should-be Redskins are doing a pretty good job of utilizing their top draft pick. But then again, I mean, at what point does the shoe fall off? And, you go back and, we're all still waiting for CJ Stroud to hit that wall. And sometimes these guys do, and sometimes they don't. It's the argument, do I spend the high draft pick on the quarterback, or do I see if I can find the Brock Purdy somewhere in the scrapyard? But the thing is about Purdy, it's like, any of these guys, do I just draft somebody who can do what I need them to do at quarterback, or do I go out and I get, if I get the 7th pick in the draft, if I'm not very good for whatever reason, injuries or do I build and then find a quarterback who I can plug in? Or do I try to draft the best quarterback at that position if I do need a new quarterback?
Yeah,
I kind of think
on the defense.
I kind of think it's like this. I think the NFL is showing us right now, whatever your team has, as far as you as a coach, your identity, and it's what you can teach and what you can get players to do. But if your philosophy and your system is a certain way, you can't take a quarterback who doesn't do those things and put them in that system and expect them to be successful. If the guy's never been under center, then you don't get him. If it's a one-read guy,
maybe.
And that just goes back to the ego. Again, goes back to the ego of these guys that are in charge. Whether it, again, if you're talking NFL coaches, or go back to the Cardinals, and we talk about, whether it's all of that. I know. I'm just saying, it's just that ego. So Okay, you brought that up. So let's talk about other franchises and why are they not succeeding? Tell me, Jacksonville Jaguars, and they were talking about this on the radio this week. They've got an owner that wants to win and wants to do anything for the players to win. Why are they struggling so much? Because they were supposed to win. This was supposed to be their year that they make the playoffs and they have the best team that they've ever had. Like, what's the clue? What's the reason why? Why is Trevor Lawrence struggling? I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on? I mean, is he a bust? Are you going to say is he a bust? Is Justin Fields is that QB draft year? Is that a bust? Like what? Why do bad franchises continue to be bad year after year after year?
Okay, so if I got a quarterback who isn't a proven commodity, who isn't showing me that he can play in the, let's just say, this century of football where everybody throws the ball 70,000 times and the ball gets moved down the field through the air all the time, then I've got to have a strong running game and develop a play action and safe passing game for my young quarterback. Let's go back to Tom Brady when he did come into the league and he's taken over. The Patriots didn't just say, man, let's just spread it out, 4 wide, shotgun Tom, and let's throw that thing all over the field to Deion Branch and a bunch of dudes nobody's ever heard of. Everything was safe. Everything was safe. Everything was run the ball, pass on third down, run the ball, play action second down. Go back and watch. I watched a lot of the Patriots games when he played. Because
check
down or just safe play. Don't turn the ball over. The Jaguars aren't doing that. Okay, they're not, and they're not playing that way. They're not establishing a run. They obviously have something wrong with their offensive line, and they don't have guys who are making that happen. Right now they've got 500 yards rushing as a team with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna get done.
No, and Jason, I know you're eating, but I want you to. Okay, and I've got to say this. Okay, I've got to say this. Watching whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's pro, and I will say at the college level they are doing a better job of this. And I guess maybe this is more for high school. Why don't we see more teams go in motion, figure out if they man or zone? Why don't we see hitches? Why don't we see slants? Why don't we see screens? Why don't we see curls? Why don't we see post curls? Why don't we see drags? Why don't we see, all of these type of safe routes? I feel like I watch it and all I'm watching are QBs that are like, hey, I got to go home run every play, or coaches, I'm going to go home run routes all of the time. Like I just, my brain just doesn't compute. Instead of saying, just take 5 yards, like take a slant. Like it's you got a DB that's 10 yards off the ball. Take a quick slant. I don't understand it. I mean, Jason, what are things that
that's
you
no
see?
Fun.
It's no fun.
That's no fun. We can't just take a slant. They
Oh
do
my
it for
God.
70 yards.
I'm gonna get hurt.
Hill down the sideline.
I'm gonna get hurt. I can't go over the middle. Got my future to think about.
There's nobody over the middle.
I'm making a business decision.
Hey, and Jim must be done working because he's commenting. It's not the West Coast offense. Sorry, Zach. It's not the West Coast offense. It's all little dink and dunk crap. But that's the thing. Now, wait. Here's the thing. You're not wrong. Those are the kinds of throws that again, I keep bringing it back to, like, early Brady, Montana. Those are the throws that you made, and they move the ball effectively, and you run the ball. You control the ball. You keep the defense on the field longer.
Yeah.
And the offense of the other team isn't on the field. I don't know why. And again, this makes a lot of sense. If I have the ball, you don't get to score. Why we do that? Well, because
it's funny you say that, Chris. That's exactly what Aaron Rodgers said in his interview. You got these younger quarterbacks. You got to run the football.
Yeah.
You got to get under center. You got to run some play action. You got to make it look like it's a run.
There's no substitute for a great play action pass. I mean, a guy who can sell a play action, and if he's mobile, that play action that where you can roll out a bootleg, all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah. A waggle, a naked boot. Like you don't see that, and I'm even talking again high school wise, and okay, here's what I'm tired of. Here's the play that I am absolutely tired of seeing. I'm tired of seeing goal line where we're going to run this fade, this angled fade to the back pylon. I have a 6'6", 6'7" receiver up against the 6'1", 6'2" D-back, if not shorter. What, Jason, explain this to me. Why are they not saying, go 3 yards into the end zone, box this dude out, you can already jump 12 feet in the air. I'm going to throw it to where you get it or nobody gets it. What is explain this whole crap about this fade route? I see it at every level, and it's like you either
if you throw the fade route correctly, it's either your receiver catching it or it's going out of bounds.
Yeah.
The problem with your box out play, is if you throw it higher or you throw it high, they get picked.
You mean over? If you're saying if it overthrow,
people feel safer with the fade because if you overthrow them, it's out of the end zone.
And that makes sense.
You underthrow a curl, or you run that curl and the safety reads it and cuts under it.
I'm just throwing jump ball.
It.
I'm asking generally asking the philosophy because again, I would look at all of the stats on these college fade routes and these NFL fade routes, and 1 out of 15, 1 out of 20, maybe it's successful out of that. Like, I just don't, again, I don't see that versus if I got DK Metcalf, go box the dude out and go jump up 12 foot in the air and come down with it. You know what I mean? Or if I'm at the high school level and I've got a dude that's 6'4", 6'5", you know what? And I have to make a play. I have to make a play. I'm gonna put everybody on one side. I'm gonna put him on the other, and I'm gonna say, go get 3 yards past the first down marker. Go get the ball and fall down. Like, that's all you need to do.
Fall forward.
Like, I don't
just fall forward.
And chances are because he's 6'5", he's going to break tackle. He's going to break the one-on-one tackle anyway, and then go score a touchdown.
Like, how about this? How about just go jumbo package and run the son of a bitch in?
Maybe.
There you go.
If you got the line to do it.
Naked boot.
Naked boot. Yeah.
Naked boot on the goal line. They gotta be naked, man.
I don't know.
Triple option there. Hey,
see,
I'll tell you what I like.
Option.
Option on the goal line works out great because everybody doesn't know whose ball goes to.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, Jim Powers, where's your head? How many state championships did Webb City win running the beer?
Beer.
Oh, I knew what he meant.
I knew what he meant too, but
I want to run the beer.
He wants to run to the beer.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of football players who want to ask their coach, can I run the beer? No.
But again,
options.
Options another great play that I think sometimes isn't utilized as well, especially that speed option. Again, what type of athlete do you have? Do you have a guy? Go ahead.
Put guys in position of what they can do. Again, square peg, round hole. You can't use those guys if they can't do it. So know who you're drafting. Number one, I mean, are you not doing your due diligence by scouting these people? Don't we hire people who can scout this? How many times has this guy been under center in his entire college, high school career? Oh, never? Then he's not a fit for us. Is he a one read guy? He's not a fit for us. Is he in a pro style offense? Yeah, but this guy, the best guy, played quarterback at Iowa. Okay, well, can he make the throws? Yes. Can he make reads? Yes. Then he's the guy we want, and we can probably wait until the third, fourth round to get him and get him on the cheap. I'm just saying, like, and then we can build the offensive line. We can build the defense. We can do all the things that we need to do to make our team better, our franchise better. And it makes no sense to go out there and get those high-powered quarterbacks. You're going to get one or two that are going to be okay. But think about this. All these teams that got these retreads, they didn't draft them. They waited for somebody else to give up on them. Bryce Young will be in that category at some point. You know, Trevor Lawrence might be too. And then who's gonna benefit from that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing about, again, you give them that contract. You know, I mean, that's the situation. Why, Chris? You brought it up. Would you rather take your first round draft pick or your top 5 as a QB that you're going to have to pay, or would you say, you know what, I'll just go get who is the guy that won the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers or the Raiders? Rich Gannon. Is it Gannon?
Gannon didn't win it because he got his ass handed to him by the Buccaneers.
Who was the Buccaneers QB? Okay,
Brad Johnson.
There you go, Johnson or Trent.
Brad freaking Johnson. He was Brad Johnson was a retread from Minnesota.
Okay.
Boy, he had some good years in Tampa Bay.
Right, because they had a great defense. That's the other thing. Go back to the Ravens when they won.
Wait.
They had a great defense.
Did Tampa Bay run the ball? Who was their running back?
Yeah.
Work done.
Mike Allstott. Yeah. Brad Johnson. Yeah.
Brad Johnson.
Yep.
There was a guy.
Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl, baby.
There was a guy where I'm from whose name was Brad Johnson, and apparently he was convicted of murder down by Black River. So every time, I swear to God, we're watching. Me and my dad watch football. This is when I was in high school or whatever. He would say, "Hey, Brad Johnson, didn't he kill a guy down by Black River?" I'm like, shut up. But it stays my man. I will never forget Brad Johnson.
Anyway, it's so you don't waste your money. You don't waste find the stat where a team hasn't won the NFL, hasn't won the Super Bowl when the QB is making past a certain percentage of payroll. Like it just
right now,
doesn't
right
happen.
now, the only guy that can say that he probably has done it is Mahomes.
Yeah,
I don't know what Stafford made with Los Angeles when they won it. It doesn't happen a lot. The big money payoffs. I mean, it's hard because it's hard to build a team around that. And if you can make it work, you're probably sacrificing your future right now.
Right.
Your future. You're trying to win right now. Excuse me, I said that wrong.
Yeah.
You're probably right, Dave. He was the person he killed was right below our cabin.
Might have been. But I mean, it was down there by Mill Spring, by the way, Jarvis. I mean, it needs to be, and Bodkins is right on that. I mean, it needs to be,
Bodkins is definitely right.
You've got to develop skill, and the NFL is not interested as a league in doing that. You don't have the time as a coach to do that unless you have a full, everybody buys in organization, everybody, ownership, whatever. But then your fan base is going to sit there. Yeah, man, you're all right. The fan base is still going to be up in arms if you're not winning, because it's instant gratification, man. I mean, it's you gotta win.
Yeah, coaches don't have time.
You don't have
time to develop anymore.
Not when we were talking about professional sports.
You don't have time.
Mike Tomlin is the outlier to all this. Belichick was up until last year, whatever.
Started dating 24-year-olds, but I mean, whatever.
Don't hate that player, man. Dude's 70 years old.
No, hate the game, man. Don't hate the player, hate the game, bro.
If Bill Belichick is doing the walk of shame from a 24-year-old's house, I mean, good for Bill. Whatever. I mean, 7 years old. Good God, that's wild. So we've got a little bit of time. Zach, is there anything else we want to touch on topic-wise, or?
I'm trying to see all the notes.
If he's a chicken, I'll do it.
All right, go ahead.
Chicken, go ahead, Jay.
Well, I mean, what do you think about this volleyball team with the guy on it?
What a lead in. What a lead in, Jason.
The sand
Well,
volleyball?
I'm just saying, no. Teams are refusing to play. I mean, do you think that?
Do you know? Can you say the whole thing so our viewers who have no idea what you're talking about?
Well, man, I don't know the whole thing.
All right,
I have a major opinion on it. I just don't know.
San Jose State. Okay.
Yep.
I knew it was San Jose State, but I just didn't know the whole story.
They've had. I know Wyoming, who is a conference opponent, has decided not to play and forfeit. They had a team before then. Off of the top of my head, I can't remember if it was conference or not, but they had a team as well that decided that they were not going to play.
3 schools
and forfeit. There's 3 now. Okay, well there you go. Add another one. And all of this was after, I believe, after the ESPN highlight of the athlete absolutely spiking it into the nose of an opponent and basically knocking her out. I think that's what kind of precipitated all of this going forward. And so, Jason, I mean, go ahead, since you said you have the opinion on it. Get us started.
No, I just think it. I mean,
you have a daughter that's playing volleyball.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's just like the swimming thing.
Okay, so
the one swimmer doesn't get a gold medal because we allow a biological male to compete. That's no, it's garbage.
So the San Jose State, which has a transgender player in the starting lineup, obviously this is a biological male, and that's what we're all alluding to. So there's 3 teams that have refused to play. The question I think it really comes down to, especially with the viral video of the player getting knocked out, if you're a biological male, you're playing in women's sports, there is a distinct advantage that you have. It's not from so many different standpoints, it's not even fair. And I will say this: if I'm a female, I got a problem with it, because it'd be like me saying, all right, I'm gonna go down and play dodgeball with a bunch of kids. They're a lot smaller than me. I mean, you can't say that it's perfectly fine and normal for this to happen, and it's okay, because it's a safety issue. It's 1,000% a safety issue. Biological males are stronger on the average than females, and take it on top, you're playing a college sport, which means you're receiving higher training, an advanced level of training that other athletes aren't getting. So take it to another level. You can't say that you aren't pushing the envelope on what is safe and what's not for these young women playing sports. And if I'm them, I have no problem with a group of young ladies saying, we're not doing that. We're not playing that team. I really don't. I just think it's an unfortunate thing that it's even in play.
No, it shouldn't even be it's no.
I mean, you can wait. I'm going to say this: you can have your beliefs on what you think. If you think that that people, transgender and anything, I'm not going to get into that. Here's the problem: it's a safety thing. From someone who has a daughter, I would have a problem with a male competing in sports against my daughter. And especially on that level, it's not even close to how much I have a problem with it. Because, again, I don't want her to get hurt. No matter what the sport is, we're playing basketball, we're playing volleyball, wrestling. No, absolutely not.
Go into what women's basketball programs do. Okay, what they do. They get guys from their school to practice against the women's basketball team daily. Okay, UConn has been doing this for years. They even had South Carolina this past year. They had a story on ESPN about, I can't remember what the nickname.
I know of high schools that have done it.
So like there's a reason why they're doing that in women's college basketball, because they offer better competition than probably what they're going to see again, Chris, like you alluded to, biologically. I go not on top of the biology into the government realm, and you talk about Title IX. Right. Is that a Title IX issue for women's athletics? And I don't know if anyone has said anything with regards to that.
Kind of wipe out. Didn't this kind of wipe out Title IX?
Well, I think it's I think that's the question that we would have is this a Title IX violation? Period. And again, I'm not an expert on law and things like that, but I know that for a fact. I mean, it's you're definitely falling down a slippery slope here, and I'm sure a lot of people are afraid to touch this topic, and they are, and we all sit in positions where it's a tough thing. We have our own beliefs and opinions that each might be similar or different, and anybody watching or that gets a chance to watch this might feel different than us, and that's totally fine. What I won't step away from as far as a belief that I will say 100% publicly is I don't feel like it's right for a biological male to play in a competitive sanctioned sport in college or high school against girls. You're not going to convince me anything otherwise. I don't have a problem with colleges or high schools saying, hey, we're going to have practices against the guys. Okay, that's a controlled situation. Those young men are being brought in there for a reason. They're being told how they want them to play against that team. Don't think for one second that Gino Auriemma is going to have a bunch of dudes come in there that aren't told how to play and can have a chance to get Paige Beckers hurt. Right? Like he's Italian. Some of those guys might end up in the river or something with some concrete shoes. What I'm saying is that's a totally different thing, and I agree why we do it. And if I coach a women's sport, I would want something like that too, because of the physical and competitive challenge that would give my kids if I felt like they were at the level to do that. If we're talking about someone who's at the level of playing college volleyball, which is an extremely difficult sport to play at the highest of college levels, a D1 college volleyball player, and they already have to be pretty damn good as a biological female. Imagine what you have as a biological male playing against biological females. You have a distinct advantage. I don't care who you are, you just do. So it becomes a safety thing, and that's where I have a problem with it. Everything else past that, I can have my own opinion, my own beliefs, but it's a big problem.
Riley Gaines is the female swimmer that has taken a lot of heat. Has spoken in a lot of colleges and done a lot of things fighting that keep women playing women and men playing men, or boys, whatever.
I mean, I think I think it's something that the NCAA has to. They have to make a decision on this moving forward, because at some point, like you already see, like things aren't getting better here. When it comes to this, because there's so much. You know what I mean? It's hard to even put into words like what. There's a lot of bad that can happen from this, and there's already some that is. Schools are going to start doing what they're doing, like these schools have done against San Jose State. What's the next step? The NCAA has to step in and actually do something.
Yeah, and that's for all of the teams that are forfeiting. Those players, unfortunately, and hopefully they're a part of that decision-making process. But you talk about a rock and a hard place. That's not fair to them to sit here and say, hey, I'm just not gonna play. I'm gonna forfeit and not play one of our scheduled games. You only get so many games in life, and at some point you're told you can't play anymore. And to sit here and again, like, hey, there's one less game, I get to tie up my laces. And that's what kind of stinks, also in this process is that, those kids or those players that are having to go through and make that
put
decision.
it out there. I mean, any of you people have a daughter, and your daughter is going to the Olympics, and she loses to a biological male. What are you going to feel? What are you going to feel? She would have been a gold medalist, but lost to a male. Period. I don't care what parent you are. I don't care what your beliefs are. I don't care. You have to look at that and go, that's crap.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already said I don't think that they should be competing against biological males. Shouldn't compete against biological females.
No, I have an advantage. I don't care what anyone says.
Across the board. Again, so there was a long time ago. Someone said, it's not fair that we only have boys sports and they should have girls sports. So then they decide, let's just make girls sports. Well, maybe this is what should happen with people who they're biological males and want to play female sports. Maybe you should start your own, and in that way, everybody who in that same category can do that, and then we don't have these problems. Because right now it seems to be a problem. That's just how I feel about it. What do I know? Everybody's like, I don't want to say anything else. I think we covered it real quick before we do jump. Go ahead. You want to finish?
No, I was just going to say I think you're right. I think we covered our bases there and explained it. So go ahead.
I hope so. Probably didn't. Somebody didn't like it. All right. So real quick before we jump off here, we only got a couple minutes before we actually hit the 2-hour mark. Good gosh, we haven't done that in a while. Big game coming up. Let's see. Well, wait, maybe
Saturday at 11.
Yeah, is it Mizzou?
Yeah, Saturday at 11.
Texas A&M and Mizzou.
I'm clicking the wrong thing. Yeah, I was about to say, I know they're playing A&M.
Yep.
All right, how do we feel about it? Ready? We're going to get it. Jason, you nervous? I'm nervous.
I'm nervous. I now, again, watching them play this past weekend, I thought, okay, again, Mizzou has that bye week, and I think if they can get some things fixed, I think it'll be okay. Now you're going in, you're playing in with the 12th man. You're in the SEC. Again, you are in the position. You have that expectation. You're top 10 for a reason. Go out and prove it. And I would like to think if Brady Cook leads them and makes good decisions, throws a good ball, I think they'll be fine.
I'll tell you, if you look at the odds makers and if you looked at our pick 'em, high percentage picking Mizzou to win that game. But being a Mizzou fan, it's always nervousness.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Nervous.
I'm nervous. I picked Mizzou to win, but
I'm picking Mizzou to win too. But I'm nervous.
That's right. That's right.
You better touch the ball about 10 times.
10.
Yeah.
How about 25, Mike?
I'd say 10 in the first half, maybe at least.
Come on, don't pull Mike Martz. He doesn't get it 10 times. 10 the first half, yeah. Then he better have 10 more.
10 to 15 for the game, and we'll be good.
Be jet sweeps, slants, bubble screens, whatever we can do to get him in space. Let's make him earn that NIL money.
I think you got to get Weiss involved a little more too.
Yeah,
good idea.
And let's be honest. Hopefully, Cook comes out of the shell that he's been playing in, and has a game. I mean, if we're gonna win Saturday, Cook needs to play well.
Yeah, agreed.
But we're 9. What are they? 20 something?
Yeah,
20. I don't remember.
Let's see.
I just
A&M
lost it in my
is
head.
25.
22, 20, okay,
Aren't they?
25.
Oh, and
So
AP, they're 25.
So it's basically like the Boston College game. I mean,
No, yeah.
I don't care. It can be that ugly as long as Mizzou wins. Mizzou wins by a point. All I got to do is win by a point.
Yeah, defensive secondary is going to have to show up. Brady Cook's going to have to lead the team. I think it comes down to, out of the two teams, who can have the big play capability and who makes the big play. That's what I think happens.
Eric, I don't like your negativity.
Yeah.
That negativity isn't wanted here.
Who is that, Eric?
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, get off our broadcast.
No, you can be on our broadcast. Don't listen to Jason. But we are always nervous about our Tigers here.
You suck.
Dave, this guy.
I said this last week that they needed to get the tight end more involved, and my brother brought it up. Man, we are like on it today, and usually I'm not on it with him. So, I mean, he's a Celtic fan. I'm a Laker fan. You know what you do.
Well,
whoa, wait, before we go.
Oh, God.
So is LeBron in the middle of the P. Diddy stuff? Is he or is he not? Because that SOB has never had anything bad come out, right? He's never had anything come out bad. I give him credit on that. Like not cheating on his wife, nothing. Nothing bad has ever come. Not a gambling problem like they say with MJ. None of this stuff, right? But P. Diddy going down, films of LeBron at P. Diddy parties. What do you think?
I think there's a bunch of people. I can't wait to see the names.
Oh man!
Unless he, you know,
and maybe he's one of those. And I do believe this. I think there was some of them that had no idea what was going on. They left before all the tubes and lubes come out.
Tubes and lubes,
but it'll be interesting, man. I am so interested in seeing what names come out on this whole deal. What really aggravates me is we're more worried about this than Epstein. So we're not looking at Epstein, but
he wasn't famous. He wasn't famous.
But we're going to fry P. Diddy. So make your minds up. You need to look into Epstein too, because there's more people on that than I think is going to be on the P. Diddy. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Bunch of people.
I agree. I think it's a powder keg. I think, man, wow. I can't imagine what it's going to be like.
I can't wait. Get your popcorn ready.
Well, it's like that Michael Jackson emoji when he's just shoveling the popcorn in. It's going.
You know that, Jason. I don't know if you know this or not. That was actually taken from a music video back in the '80s called Thriller.
Yes, I know.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure. I know you were alive back then. You were still in high school, but
Thriller was a very good song back in the day.
Yeah, it was. Good music video. Good stuff.
I was looking at Tara Lynn. She wasn't even alive. But, well, you know, what do you do?
Attaboy. All right.
Thriller.
All right. We don't need that.
Yeah, we do.
No. All right. Appreciate everybody joining us for another episode of the Coach's Box. And if you've been sticking around with us for the entire 2 hours, my God. Yeah, we do. We feel sorry for you. We don't apologize for any of it. But we feel sorry for you. But we do thank you for being a part of this. And hopefully we get to see you guys all again next week if the good Lord's willing and the creeks don't run dry. Yeah. Anyway, again, thank you guys. And hope you all have a great night. Good evening. God bless.
Zach, you should have done the closing.
And we will talk at you all later.
Pieces.
This episode of the Coach's Box Call It Like We See It podcast is brought to you by Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.